of equipment, and then Special Reserve, and then you can choose between your Mako and Omega ground sets. The Omega ground set is more tactical, less defensive, and the Mako is more defensive.
Ooh, a ground one.
Oh, it wasn't intended, but here it is. We'll do space next.
Okay, let me switch to my weapon stuff.
I think I'll put some armor on.
Put some clothes on, Sarah.
It's kind of cold on the ship. Okay, so Jupiter Force has had a party on their starbase to show off the season Tier 4, which is pretty cool. And this is the party on the instance inside the base. There might be a few people outside still. I'm not sure. Sure, they're making their way inside. And this is what we're looking at now. So we'll see people later.
Hello Captains, and welcome to this week's early edition of Trek. This week we're coming to you early because we want to air some grievances about the game recently. One particular grievance is the Winter Wonderland Fleet Starbase Project for the little holographic image of the Chelgret cruiser. Well, yes, this might not be something that everybody wants, and most people might say, oh, we go ahead and get rid of it. Well, what about the few people that do want it and do have the materials? They're just waiting behind a 200,000 dilithium required project. I know the project itself isn't required, but in order to do the project, the 200,000 dilithium is required. That was slotted well before the winter event. Unfortunately, it wasn't a priority to hit that one, and as we had understood, every single limited time special project is every last special project. When we come up with these new special projects, are limited time. They all say limited time. They say limited time, whether they require 200,000 dilithium or they simply require 250 of each winter commodity. Now, at the time of its release, Cryptic said that if people haven't finished it, or if a couple of people haven't finished it, we will convert the commodities required to something else like dilithium or what, but we'll look into it. This was apparently never really looked into, and it has been let to go until finally a week and 2 days before, or just a week actually, maybe a day before. I don't remember if PWE Bramflakes posted his post on it on the Wednesday before the patch or Thursday of last week's patch after the patch. I come back and said, oh, and next Thursday's patch we're going to include the forced removal, because this is what this is. This is forced. It's not an option for you and me to say yes or no on its removal from our fleet. It is straight up, if you have not finished this project by the time that the server goes down for maintenance, when it comes back up, this project will be gone. All your commodities are replaced and will be gone. The only thing you will get to keep is the fleet credit that you earn for giving the commodities, and that's because they don't track who gave what commodity to, except on the end where they hand out the fleet credit. Except that they don't even keep track of the fleet credit. They simply keep track of, hey, you just gave this, so here's your fleet credit. There you go. Transaction complete. Transaction record destroyed. It's pretty sad that this is happening. This isn't the only grievance, and it's not even the importance about the project. It's not. It's the fact that if they all say limited time, but the 200,000 dilithium projects are allowed to stay, then why take away the Winter Wonderland project? Why not let the project removals be an option for the fleet, instead of, oh, we're going to remove it from all fleets? How do you know we don't have the commodities we need and we're just sitting behind a 200,000 dilithium requirement for another limited time special that we've had a hard time getting to? What if it's honestly just a 25-man fleet and only 15 of them are giving out 8,000 dilithium? Well, 10 is 80,000 dilithium on a day. And you can't sit here and say that because most people, you can't say because your cap is 8K that everybody can get that cap. You don't know a person's work schedule, you don't know a person's life schedule. If they can only give 2 minutes to the game, they're not going to get very much more than 20 or 30 dilithium that day. So realistically, we need to step back, and not go, oh, 99% of the game can do this, so let's, I don't think 2% of the game should be left behind. If you want to say half of the game should be left behind, then even at that, you've got to stop and look at the half that can't even do what you're asking. Also, later on, at first we will be interviewing Fleet Admiral Nerian of the Mak'Tar fleet, which will be at you can find them on their website at www.themak'Tar. That's the word "the" and Mak'Tar is MAKTAR .engine.com. Anyways, we talked to him, and he is actually in that situation I mentioned where they just kept telling everybody, hey, look, I know it's the Winter Wonderland, I know you're going to go have your fun at the Winter Wonderland, pick up these commodities when you can, put them in the fleet bank, and go from there. They also turned around and said, hey, if you need to get your reputation system taken care of, here you go. Take care of that and then get back to us. The winter event thing and all these projects shouldn't go anywhere because we've got them slotted. We'll take care of it. Well, and now we find out, almost 2 months later, that a week from this last Thursday, meaning this coming Thursday, 3 days from now, this mission will be removed, and if you can't get it done, well, tough on you, and we don't care if it's because you don't have the commodities that you need, or if it's because you don't have the dilithium for the mission that's stuck in front of it. This is something that it needs to be, if you can't finish a project, but you want another project better, at least allow us to dump the project. I don't care if we get if we got 20,000 dilithium already in the one project. If we can dump these things on our own and have it be our own choice, that's fine. And so what if one particular fleet breaks itself apart because it squabbles over whether or not to do a project or to get rid of a project? Then that's, then that fleet didn't need to be a fleet if they can break apart over something that simple. It's not Cryptic's job, it's not my job, it's not any other fleet manager's job to make sure that the system is set up so that no fleet will ever have to argue about anything. And it's not Cryptic's job to go in here and be the bad guy and say, look, we're going to remove this project. It's our decision, not your fleet guy's decision, so you can't yell at your fleet guy, yell at us. That's not it either. I do want to make a video apology on record that in the post about the removal of the Winter Wonderland event, I did use some very horrible language, and I wish to apologize, particularly to Brandon Feltzer, PWE Bramflakes, as my comments were aimed directly at him, and they shouldn't have been. He was simply the messenger. There's absolutely no excuse for what I did. What I got, maybe I should have gotten worse than a 3-day ban, but then in there is he had the grace to say, I'm only going to 3-day ban him over this. And I want to thank Brandon Flakes for it only being a 3-day ban from the forum. And again, I want to apologize. I should never use that kind of language with anybody, regardless of anything. There is absolutely no excuse for it. My language in that post is just as unexcusable as a heavy-handed attack on our Starbase projects as removing a project that we have slotted. I do make note that it is a horrible reality, but immediately, within hours and days of the post about this winter project, we unfortunately have seen the bells and the beads, which are uncommon quality but selling for ultra rare quality prices now, because they're as low on the commodity as they are now anyways. But then on top of that, well, now you don't have months to sell it to somebody so they can finish their project. You've got to sell it instantly right here, right now. What else did I have on this? The other thing is that I would make an appeal to those of you that do have it in the next. This post is going to. I'm posting this tonight, Monday, the 11th of February, 2013. And I'm going to make a heartfelt plea. Those of you who are sitting on beads that have either decided not to do the project at all, or that have already finished the project, regardless of how you feel about the project in general, if somebody wants to buy the beads or the bells to finish their project, or any other commodity, please give it for a decent price. Don't give it for oh, I can make billions on the exchange and be rich for the rest of the game's run. I mean, that's certainly your priority, and if that's what you want to continue to do, I'm not even going to know that you've gone ahead and continued to do it by name, honestly. I don't see who's got what up, and I don't see who I bought from on the exchange. I know you see who bought from you when you get the message, but I've never seen you bought from. But if you could, please. I'm not asking you to donate it for free. If that's what you feel is the nice thing to do, you know, find a guy in a fleet. So hey, is your fleet doing this project? You guys have until Wednesday night to get it done. So if Thursday comes around, there's no doubt you'll have it. And if you want to say, hey, you know, $5 a commodity, $50, or not $5, 50, you know, 5 energy credits, 50 energy credits, 100 energy credits, 5,000 energy credits a piece, or you want to just completely give it away and say, here, I've got, you need 250 beads. How many beads do you already have? Oh, you've got 150. Well, here's 100 beads. Thank you. Have a good day. It's certainly okay if you sell them. I'm not going to harp on you too much for selling them. I'm just asking if you have it in you to do something decent. Cryptic isn't doing the decent thing by removing this project. Please do the decent thing. Help other fleets get this project finished. You know, hand them a commodity. In the end, if they take off and try to sell the commodity to make their own EC off of it, then, you know, at the end of the day, you've done something that you felt was good. And if they've gone and poo-pooed on it by selling it and making money and then coming back, oh, I don't have the commodity. Well, you gave them the commodity and then they sold it. And that's on them at that point. Anyways, the following segment is going to be an interview with Fleet Admiral Nerion at the Mak'Tar fleet on their starbase at their conference table, where I was allowed to sit at the head while he sat at the first seat on the right, or on the left from me, and talk to me, and you know, stay tuned for that. And also later on we will be talking about we have another situation that has been brought to my attention by members, again, of the Mak'Tar fleet, as I have a character in that fleet, and I have several characters in a fleet of my own. I have a... Let me look. I've got to look at my notes. I should have pulled these out before. Anyways, we have a fleet member by the name of Jesse that we call. He is. Let me get to the front of the book here real quick. And Captain Frank and his brother at Ekman Ho. At Ekman Ho, is a paid subscription, monthly subscription. I mean, he pays monthly, and his characters have been that he's bought and leveled to 50. I believe he's leveled to 50. We'll double check what he's leveled them to, but I know he's at least leveled them to 10 or 15 and geared them several times, put ships on them. Those character and the character slots associated with them have been removed from his account, and Cryptic says we'll look into it and see what happened. They do admit that they see where he bought, where he got the ones that came free with the game, and where he bought one or two, but they don't know how to give it back to him. Yeah, they can see that it's gone, but they don't know how to give it back to him. It's something. We're going to talk to them later on in the last segment of the show, and we will get this out, and you'll be able to see it. So stick around, stay tuned, and enjoy this week's episode. And again, if you haven't finished that project, or you've got a dilithium project holding up the space, get that dilithium project out of the way, get those commodities in, get this thing turned in by Wednesday night, no later than midnight, I'd say, to be on the absolute certainty that you'll finish 2 hours later and get your memento on your starbase. You'll get that ornament hanging from the holo projector ceiling. Again, thanks, captains, and we'll see you online. And we are here with Fleet Admiral Nerian of the Mak'Tar fleet. We're here to discuss the winter event project for the Starbases. They limited a time. Hello there, so he's waving. This Thursday they're going to be removing the project if you haven't finished it, regardless of whether you want to keep it or not, because 50 other fleets have said, "Oh, if it's stuck, we'll never get to the dilithium ones." We're also going to talk to him and ask him his thoughts on the dilithium ones. How are you doing today, Admiral Nerion?
Not too bad, thank you.
That's good. Okay, so you're the fleet admiral of the Mak'Tar fleet, correct?
Yep, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm fleet admiral. We've been active since May, June last year.
Alright, very good, very good. Okay, so my first question on the list is, what do you think of this action of removing the winter event project?
I think it lacks any sort of foresight and common sense with the decision. They could have looked at alternatives, and it goes back on what they originally said when they introduced the winter project. Because what they originally said they would do was convert it into something, if no one had completed it, or it was still queued, they would convert the remaining requirements, or if you still had the full requirements for it, would be converted into something that you could get, i.e. dilithium or other commodities maybe, but they said they would convert it into something so it's completed, and there seems to be their concept of making it get completed for everyone and being converted into something we can do is by removing it. Which doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yes.
And kind of goes back against what they originally said they would do. And a lot of people on the forum seem to be saying it's limited time, it says it's limited time, etc., etc., but all the projects that they release for the special projects are all limited time, and as long as you have them queued or started, they never go away. But this one seems to be different.
Exactly, that's what I was getting at in my post. That's certainly what made me see red when I kind of sort of yelled and screamed and threw a fit in there. And again, I'd like to, anybody that's watching this, it has been on the forums at stow-forums.perfectworld.com. You've noticed that I have a post in that particular thread about regarding the Winter Wonderland event project. I was banned for 3 days for my part in what I said, and I wholeheartedly agree what I said should have had me banned. I should have worded it like I did later on, but, give that a look and see what you see there. But yes, and so our next question is, basically, your biggest obstacle, I mean, as I understand it, was it the fact that you have all of the materials needed for the winter event? Except you have one of the horrendous 200,000 dilithium requiring projects slotted before it. That it's just, it's not been the big priority to get through that dilithium project now, nor has it really been all that easy. They say it's easier now to get dilithium, but I don't think it really is. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll start first on the project. Yes, we've had a 200,000k dilithium project, which only had about 40k into it. Because obviously we've got better things to put our dilithium into, like upgrading military and getting the Starbase upgraded so we can get all our better fleet gear. And obviously as far as we were concerned, the project would be converted into something, and as long as I had it queued, that was the main thing that I wanted to make sure, is that winter project was queued and we wouldn't lose it. And of course this was before we found out a few days ago they were going to remove it. So that's why there wasn't any urgency put towards that project at the time. And at the moment we've managed to, in the last sort of 3-4 days, since it was announced that they're going to be removing it, we've managed to go from 40k to 130k. So I feel confident if a few of us can do our caps each day into it, we can get the winter project done. I wish we didn't have to do it this way, but there you go. I don't want all the materials to get wasted, and yeah, we've had all the materials since probably since the end of December. We've had all the required commodities to get the project complete. As far as dilithium goes, with I admit I think it is easier to earn the dilithium now, but it's not any easier to refine it. So,
Yes.
Whereas like a few members in the fleet have all this unrefined dilithium and they can't refine it. So I think it's not so much, because you can do the officer reports every 30 minutes now, and that gets you 1,000. You can do the mining, which takes 10 to 15 minutes of your time, and that gets you 1,000. And STFs are, apart from Into the Hive, I think are a lot easier even on Elite, as long as you got the right setup and you're doing it with people that know what they're doing. So with the earning dilithium, I think it is easier, but the refinement cap is way, way too low to deal with the amount of requirements for the dilithium, like with the projects. I mean, we've got a couple of upgrade projects for the embassy that's got like that requires, I can't remember how much it requires now, but that's in the hundreds of thousands. And then if you're someone that does everything in the game and you upgrade your DOFs on the academy, that costs, just do upgrade 5 rares to a very rare, that's like 5,000 dilithium. And if you're crafting all the unreplicatable materials, those cost dilithium. And before you know it, I mean, even if you upgrade one DOF from even if you upgrade to one very rare DOF on the academy doing it that way, you're looking at nearly your entire cap for the day. So, they're saying that, and I think this is where people get it mixed up. The problem isn't earning it, it's the refining it, and they need to really do something about the cap, whether they introduce something on the C-Store, where, like with the bank slots, anyone who's a gold player gets additional bank slots, gets more bank slots than a silver player. So what they could do is increase the cap for all gold players to say 12,000, and then put something on the store that you can buy up to 2 or 3 times to increase it by another 3,000 or 4,000 each time. And I don't know, they could put it up for like 500 or even 1,000 Zen. They'd be making money. People would be happy because they're increasing their cap. It would, and silver. If I was a silver player, I would buy that.
Right. Let's touch on this a little bit. How do you feel about those 200,000 dilithium projects? And as I understood, at one point they were talking about cutting those in half to 100,000, which I thought was still a horrendous amount. But, what are your thoughts?
They lied again. I mean, they said the second time that what they had originally said was that when these projects come round again, they would do them at half price. Now, as you're fully aware, they made every one of those projects available over Christmas, or just before, for people to do, and they were still full price. You know, even personally, I think, you know, 100,000 for making your Starbase look pretty isn't really worth dilithium. You know, you're looking at a currency that's used in game for some of the best equipment in the game, and it's also used for fluffy projects that make your Starbase look pretty. You know, as far as I'm concerned, if you're earning a currency that's used for some of the best equipment and really good DOFs and all that kind of stuff, you know, they should look at something else. You know, I would say maybe make the special projects 20,000 dilithium and add in other things like lots of commodity requirements. You know, that makes kind of sense to what the kind of project is. You know, like provisions and all that kind of stuff. And even if they made it like, you know, you need 10,000 provisions or something, that, and you know, 10,000 industrial replicators, and you know, and put that in as well, as opposed to just 200,000 dilithium. Using commodities would make much more sense for upgrading visual stuff on the Starbase.
Certainly. Anytime your commodity is tied up like that, certainly, you know, here's one thought I've had also. You know, I know I'm supposed to be asking you your thoughts, but I'll give you a thought of my own. Like the embassy, we have the embassy, what are those? Shoot, can't think of the top of my head right now, but they have a special commodity that's replicatable for the embassy through your replicator, and it uses up your fleet points. So I don't see why we can't do the same. Yes.
You know, they could introduce, you know, for the special projects, maybe a new set of different provisions that you can only buy using fleet credits. You know, I know embassy provisions is only used for the really. And I just stood up. I'm angry. 1 second. No, the embassy provisions is only used for the small increase in your XP. It's like, you know, you donate 40 embassy provisions, you get 5 or 10 XP for diplomatic and recruitment. You know, and if you've got the vanity projects, they could introduce sort of Starbase provisions and maybe a couple other things that you buy with fleet credits. You know, you can earn enough fleet credits to be able to easily buy them. You know, they're not that expensive, and you know, I would rather have that. You know, that would make more sense. You know, you're earning your fleet credits, and you're using those fleet credits not only for your equipment. I mean, obviously, all your equipment costs fleet credits and dilithium. They could make it so all the vanity stuff is just, you know, it is stuff that costs fleet credits. I mean, you know, you're earning fleet credits for doing projects, and then you upgrade the appearance of your Starbase using that currency.
Certainly, that would be something I would say would be, you know, fleet provisions coming out of your fleet credit pool. So they're still slowing you from getting your fleet materials that you want, but they're not killing you on the dilithium.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, there's only one aspect of the game which is using fleet credits, and that's the fleet gear. Whereas dilithium, you know, you use it to buy Zen, you use it to upgrade your DOFs, you use it for crafting. You know, it's used for nearly everything. You know, and at the same time, it makes me kind of laugh because, you know, they've gone a full circle. They started off, you know, when they had all the different marks for different, you know, they had all the different, like, marks of valor and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And they had marks for when you're a lieutenant commander, you know, the different level marks that you could use to get, you know, the tier 3 and 4 gear, the tier 5 and 6 gear, mark 5 and 6 gear, sorry, and so on. And then they say, oh no, we just want to make it one currency or make it one thing to simplify it. They go and do that, and then they start introducing more things again. So it kind of seems like they're just going in a full circle all the time.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. It's a great tragedy anytime they heavy-handedly remove something because a certain group says it's okay to do so. It's really unacceptable, I think, to do this. But here's my other question for you: is what do you think is worse, the winter event project getting stuck for a year, or being able to go through every last 200,000 dilithium requiring project? Which I think this is what this is. This comes down to Cryptic saying, well, they're not going to move dilithium if we don't get rid of that winter project that doesn't use dilithium. Don't tell me. Did that question make it through?
I think you were probably talking there and it wasn't going through.
Okay, we'll try that again. What do you think is worse, the winter event project, that or the projects that require the 200,000 dilithium, as far as on what gets stuck and what doesn't get stuck and what's left and what's removed?
I'm sorry, but you did just cut out again. What's more important, the winter event project? What's more annoying, the winter event project, or... And that's what I got. Sorry.
Oh, yes, on the 200,000 dilithium ones.
Yeah, probably the winter event project is what you mean, isn't for the requirements or what they've done?
Well, I mean, yeah, as the requirements, I mean, what do you think is worse, having to grind 200,000 dilithium and being stuck behind it and having it log you up because you can't get that much dilithium at one time, or the winter event one?
I really liked the idea behind the winter event project. I mean, I know all the commodities you earn for it was stuff from the winter event, but it didn't bother me as much because, you know, you could put in the work and get it for free, or you could go on the exchange and buy the stuff. You know, so you had a bit of diversity as to what you want to do. You could put in the time and, you know, not spend any EC, or you could be lazy and spend some EC. And, you know, that's how I think all the projects should be, and this comes back to like the fleet provisions again. You know, so that's where, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm not saying they should make everything easy, but this is a vanity thing. I mean, okay, yeah, maybe make it cost some dilithium, you know, 10, 20,000, you know, it's not going to have a massive effect on how the Starbase operates. I mean, you know, when you unlock the different vendors and that on the Starbase, you're getting access to different like new DOF missions, new equipment, stuff like that. This is just a vanity thing. So, okay, maybe have it cost 20,000 dilithium.
No, I mean...
But having the commodities there, like with the winter project, you know, where people have got the option to be lazy if they've got the EC and buy it, or put in a bit of hard work and, you know, actually, you know, get it for, you know, not have to pay for it. You know, and they could have it cost maybe some, you know, like Starbase provisions, maybe some samples or optical traces, and maybe some provisions and stuff like that, and a little bit of dilithium, like 10, 20k, and I think that would make a lot more sense. And if they want to make it cost like 1,000, 10,000 provisions, you know, I'm not obviously be a bit realistic, but you know, that wouldn't bother me so much, because you'd have the choice of, you know, you can buy the stuff off the exchange, or actually go out and earn it yourself. I don't know if you're trying to talk, but I can't hear you.
No, I wasn't. Well, okay, I want to thank you for your time today, Admiral Nerion, Fleet Admiral Nerion of the Mak'Tar fleet, who can be found at www.themaktar.engine.com.
Yep. That's us. And also, just let you know, you can also find us and good friend Robert's fleet here, Galactic Guards under Subspace Radio.
Oh, yes, I completely forgot about Subspace Radio.
Yeah.
Alright.
You